This is 2016 presidential hopeful Bradley Hensley. The time is a little after 11 p.m. I'm walking to my local neighborhood Stewart's to buy some Monsters and snacks of other kinds. I'm making this video for two reasons. One, I was watching on YouTube a thing called, it said, Conspiracy Facts Zombie Apocalypse. In that, it didn't give a date that it was made, but it did give a lot of information that, well, truly disturbed me. In the fact that, it talked about how the government has in place for forced vaccinations, and if you do not get them, then you will be illegally detained in these huge facilities that are just like what the Nazis used for the Jews with the concentration camps, for starters. The fact that everywhere around this country there are facilities being put next to railroad tracks to help speed this process along. The fact that in order for them to be able to do anything like that, before they can start putting anybody on a train, start singling out any one group of people as a terrorist, as a potential terrorist, or anything like that, they have to first demonize or dehumanize that person so that the rest of society feels that that person needs to be locked up so that the rest of society will be safe. The Nazis did this with the Jews. It's the very first thing that Hitler started doing when he started started using the news and saying that the Jews were bad and the Jews were the reason for Germany being in poverty, and the Jews were the cause of all these problems, when it was not the Jews. It was the German government's fault. They tried to fight World War I, and then they lost. And then here comes Hitler, with the banners and everything, and the German people felt small after World War I. They came, Hitler, banners, marching, made them feel strong, powerful again. So everybody went along with it, thinking that brighter days were ahead. Little did they know that just the opposite. Well, now, our government is trying to do the same thing to the very people who fought and put themselves in harm's way for freedom, for our country, for, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on this, but for the flag that stands right there where I'm pointing. The American flag, the red, the white, and the blue, the stars and stripes. Alright, the way they're doing this now is by saying that all veterans that are returning home are potential terrorists. This is not so, and I know this video is not that good, but I will make a better one with the same intel on it, because I know my face cuts in and out because I'm walking, and sometimes there just isn't enough light to get a good picture of me. But not only that are they saying that the veterans are terrorists, but they're saying anyone who believes in pro-life, anyone who believes in the right of choice, anyone who believes in the right to carry a gun or own a gun, anyone who believes in the Constitution, anyone who, well, shoot, basically believes in freedom is a potential terrorist. They have went so far, I found out, that the government has signed a bill that gave the Secret Service the ability to arrest anyone who protests or says something against the government with a Secret Service agent near them. You know, it could be anyone. You know, the Secret Service could be guarding any of you, any of the common citizens, let's say, and someone says, I don't like you. Now, the Secret Service has been given the right to indefinitely detain that individual for saying he didn't like you. That's direct violation of freedom of speech. You know, no government shall pass any law abridging the freedom of speech. That is part of our First Amendment, you know, to our Constitution. That is the very first, that's part of the very first, you know, number one in our Bill of Rights, of our first right there. It's part of it. Now, this is so absurd that it's sad, but at the same time it's laughable, because it's just absurd what they're saying and doing. Alright. The fact, too, that they're trying now to forcefully make anyone take a vaccine. They have a program in place all over this country to where all it takes is for the president to declare a national emergency, you know, national state of emergency. Then the governors of each state can declare it, and now it has become mandatory that you have to get injections. The government will come to your door via, you know, be it the police officers that are supposed to serve and protect us, or the military, you know, the active people serving actively, the reserves, even the Boy Scouts, because they have a thing there saying that the Boy Scouts now are being trained to help Homeland Security go door to door in a quote-unquote crisis situation and take away our guns, zip tie us, throw us onto a bus or some kind of transport to where we will be taken to a facility to where it will be called a decontamination facility, where once we are there, we will be, and I quote, told to strip our clothes, to strip naked. That means to undress completely. And if we tell them no, then we, as people in this line, will be handcuffed again, forced to the ground, and physically stripped of our clothes. We will have our clothes physically removed. That sounds an awful lot like what happens in the first stages of a rape, if you ask me. But, hey, I'm just stating what I hear, you know. I mean, just these two facts that I've mentioned, the facts that I've mentioned so far, are so far away from what our country needs to, you know, from the Constitution our country needs, and it's set up on it's our foundation. The Constitution is the foundation of our country. It's the bedrock of which our country was built. And yet they're doing this. This ain't right. But it is what it is. The fact that, you know, my back is bothering me. I need to take a stop for a second. Okay. Keep going. Alright. The fact that they have done this is just insanely wrong on so many levels. I can't count them all. The fact that, you know, they think that, I don't know, that maybe people don't know what's going on, that they get away with anything. I don't know what they're thinking. Other than to get rid of the US of A and stop it from being a democracy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not right. Back when I grew up, well, hang on a minute, I'll finish talking. Back when I grew up, we didn't have to worry about all this technology and all that, because, to be honest, we weren't that afraid of things, you know? We knew we had the right of things. The government wasn't telling us what we could or could not do. We knew what we could, and of course what we could not do. But now, the government is telling us what we can and cannot do. You know, we chose intellect. We chose to go towards intellectual superiority instead of being afraid of it. When did all this change? I'll never know, but please look up into the information that I've given you. And once again, this is Brad Allen Hensley, 2016 presidential hopeful, saying thank you, and may God bless America.